Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I love coming on the air each and every week talking to America's amazing entrepreneurial leaders, folks that have been there and done that. And frankly, not every moment has been successful. And we love to have that real talk, if you will, talking about what's worked and what hasn't worked. And that's exactly, I'm excited to have this conversation with Ben Camille, who's the founder and CEO of Travel Defend, America's leading travel insurance brokerage concierge service. We're going to talk all about what he does each and every day. We're going to talk about his entrepreneurial journey, the good times, the bad times, and everything in between. Ben Camille, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So for over 20 years, my understanding is that you've been managing numerous multi-million-dollar tour companies, but specifically specializing in that Uber luxury market. You got a business degree from Farley Dickinson University, where I know you also played baseball. And perhaps it was that experience that led you to be able to survive that rough and tumble world of that Uber luxury clientele. I know some days it's probably easier than others. Isn't that true?
Yeah. Basically, I've been doing this for about 20 years. I mean, when I'm talking luxury, I'm talking super luxury. I mean, we have many clients and families that would come to that company. It was called Upscale Getaways, spending for a week $200,000, $300,000 on just a week event. So really super high end. That's kind of what we're used to doing in that business. And we've really pivoted into travel insurance. And I want to tell you the origin of what happened here, because it's actually pretty interesting. COVID really destroyed us, right? Obviously, I mean, we're in the luxury market. When COVID happened, everything got shut down. And then once things started coming back, we realized, me and my business partner, we were kind of saying, look, our events are back on, but who is going to book these events without travel insurance in this day and age? Nobody. Okay. So we started looking into this, and I really became, I know it's funny to say, but I became obsessed with travel insurance. I just started looking into it. My brain worked really well in terms of understanding it well. Like we would have high end at our events, we'd have high end catering. And I would go into a kitchen and my brain is like mush. Okay. I don't understand the kitchens. I don't know what's going on. Somehow with travel insurance, it just worked for me. I understood it really well. And I said, if I'm going to offer this to my clients, I better really know a lot about it. And I realized that what we're offering and what we're doing, what we want to do with Travel Defend does not exist in America. And so I'll get into what exactly we do in a moment. But basically, we went to all the other tour companies in our niche. I said, look, all of your clients need help with travel insurance. They're not going to book your trips without it. Send them to us. We'll take care of them. And we just kind of exploded from there. And only 2 years in, we are a multi-million-dollar company now. And we've just started scratching the surface. So it's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. And congratulations on all of that success. And we're gonna talk more about what you do, and we're going to talk more about that success. But I want to actually start all the way in the beginning. I mean, travel. Do you like to travel? I mean, where did this sort of bug and itch for helping folks? Again, certainly not, like you said, the Uber luxury side, but just in general, that fascination with helping people understand those crazy dynamics that I know only have gotten crazier over these past few years.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I actually have memories from when I was a little kid, maybe 5, 6 years old, going to the airport and being like, wow, I love the airport. And that still stays with me. And I think, I was playing college baseball growing up. I played baseball my whole life, and I was a pitcher. I was one of the best pitchers in Canada growing up in Toronto, and I got a scholarship. And I knew I wasn't going to make the major leagues. I wasn't that good, but I was fairly good. And a friend of mine just said to me, I bet this is back, 20 years ago. He said, look, if you can figure out a way to make 30 grand, you're good. Okay. That was the idea we had back then. And I was like, what am I into? Like, what do I love doing? And like you said, it was just, I love traveling. I love events. I'm really good at running events. I'm really organized. I do understand the luxury client. I started it so young. When we started that business, I was 23 years old. And many people thought that, they kept saying, where's your boss? I want to speak to your boss. And I'm like, I am the boss. And they're like, what? I didn't understand. It was pretty crazy. The first time we went to a hotel to run our event, the lady said to me there, she says, is this for like a school project or something? I'm like, yeah, I'm giving you $250,000 for a school project. Like,
yeah, it's my 8th grade trip, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. We took a loan from a bank back in the day when you could get a loan. It was really bootstrap. I didn't grow up with any money or anything like that. So it was really a wild experience. But Yeah, I don't know. Tell me if you want to know more about that, but really the luxury vibe was something I really enjoyed and got into. Yeah.
I'm chatting with Ben Camille, again, the founder and CEO of Travel Defend, America's leading travel insurance brokerage concierge service. And Ben, my big takeaway from everything you've just said so far in sort of getting things started and your focus on travel in general, and obviously travel insurance, which we're going to talk about more over the next few minutes, is you have been very focused. You have. And again, a lot of folks that might question, I've been through those times before. But you've had your mission, you've had your focus, and let the naysayers laugh now, because you've certainly established things. And we're gonna continue our conversation. We're gonna have to squeeze in a very quick break in a moment, but it's certainly pretty wild in thinking about these past few years and how travel has evolved. And I can't wait to have that conversation with you as we continue the conversation. But before we cut to a quick break, I want to raise our listeners' attention to speaking of coverage, is health insurance coverage, which everybody needs. Affordable Care Act health insurance. And you want to talk to our good friend Tom Mirabali, health insurance consultations. Just mention Get Down to Business, but visit his website at healthplanchicago.com, healthplanchicago.com. Give you a free consultation. Again, mention you heard about his services on Get Down to Business, and I know he'll take good care of you. We'll be right back on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial. Hey, we're back in Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, which is exactly what we're talking to Ben Camille, founder and CEO of Travel Defend, America's leading travel insurance brokerage concierge service. Ben, appreciate you being real with us earlier in the conversation. But Ben, as you said a moment ago, a lot of folks questioning, again, was this a school project for you? But you've been focused on it definitely from day one. So if you don't mind, Ben, in that spirit of keeping it real, what was your toughest moment in the business journey, and how did you work through it and move forward? And I'm asking that specifically because we have a lot of entrepreneurs tuning in that maybe we can help somebody avoid a mistake along the way.
Yeah, I think it's kind of two things that you have to look at. I mean, certainly early on when I started, as most entrepreneurs do, you don't really know anything, and it's really not your fault. It's just that you haven't been in the real world, many of them, or they haven't, even if you've had a 9-to-5 job, you've never actually, had payroll, had, numbers on your head, and the stress that comes along with being an entrepreneur. But really, the first event I ever run, which is not, what I'm doing now in terms of Travel Defend, but I think it's a telling point. It was, the worst event that ever existed in the history of the world. I really honestly believe that. I mean, anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. It was incredibly embarrassing. There was hundreds of thousands of dollars that was being lost. And the fact is, I remember clearly the staff wanted to just quit on me, basically. And I pulled them in a room and I literally just broke down crying. I said, look, guys, we have hundreds of people here. You can't do this. You just can't. I said, I'll make it good with you. But it wasn't all my fault. I mean, everyone just saw us coming a mile away and really took advantage of us. And the point was, they stuck with me. And after that, we did get it together. But the point is, after that event, I was like, I'm never being an entrepreneur again. I'm not running my own thing. I'll just get a 9-to-5. And over time, you have to be a little bit crazy, right? Over time, you start to think, you know what, man, I did learn a lot. I know how to fix it now. I know what to do. It was like a college education, what to do. And I've taken that as a lesson for the future. Like you will get hit hard, and in the moment, it will sting really bad. But there's no entrepreneur. You will not find one that has gone through from the beginning to success without having tremendous, tremendous failures. And you have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to take that. And it does take some time, but you have to be able to brush it off. And if you're crazy enough to be an entrepreneur, many people are not. You have to be really crazy, maybe a little sick in the head. But if you are, and you really push, it's going to work out at the end of the day, as long as you have a good business model. And that we can get into as well, because a lot of people have a business that, as Mr. Wonderful would say, you just have to shoot it, take it in the back and shoot it. But if the business model is solid, it will work out if you stick with it.
Yeah, and again, I'm chatting with Ben Camille, and Ben, let's stick on that theme. I mean, we talked to so many entrepreneurs in this program. And I'll split into two categories, and the rare folks that have a little bit of both. And I'll provide the disclaimer. I think a little bit of both is where you need to be, is the folks that sit and have the business plan, and they sit and they plan for months on end. And then by the time they finish planning, they've run out of money and they can't actually get started. And then there's the folks that are super passionate, high energy, really, really focused on something, and they run into it without a plan. Again, I would argue you need a little bit of both. Would you agree?
Yeah, you need a little bit of both, but I kind of think that from step one, you need a business model that makes sense, right? So a lot of people, let's say you can look at any industry and see success. Let's say you say, I'm going to start an Amazon business. Okay, I know a lot of people that do that. I know some that do it successfully, some that don't do it successfully. I want to start an online brand or whatever it is. The fact is that you got to look at, there's marketing, and then you got to look at inventory cost. Okay, and I started a brand years ago, a fashion brand. And I really learned a lot from that experience. I learned that, of course, it can work, but the reality is that it's very tough to ever see money in that business. Any money you make, got to go back into marketing, back into inventory. How do you ever get money? How do you ever make anything? And so, yeah, you can have tremendous millions of dollars worth of investors and all this, but a lot of people, they go into a business. My nephew came to me, he says, I want to start a business. I'm going to buy a business from someone else. It's a Turkish towel business. That was the business, right? And I said to him, what the hell are you going to do with a Turkish towel business? How are you differentiating yourself? Is this the best Turkish towel in the world? I said, it's nearly impossible. Okay, it's possible, but nearly impossible without millions of dollars to start a Turkish towel business with no differentiator. And you got to keep, having a factory, having inventory. So you want to find a business model that's quick to the cash. And I think that's something that gets totally forgotten with most people. They just think of anything they're passionate about, whatever it is. You got to do the numbers. And like you said, the business plan, is it quick to the cash? How do you actually make money? That's what's so lost in these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what you've done, which is exciting. So as we come to a conclusion of our conversation, we're going to squeeze in a quick break and continue our conversation. But Ben, one thing that I know you're really proud of is being the leader, as we said earlier, in this travel insurance brokerage concierge service space. Why are you different from all your competitors?
Well, I see, because I have the timer here, that we only have a minute left, and this is a longer than a minute answer. Because in the world of travel insurance, when we get into it in the next segment, we are completely unique and different. There's nobody else doing what we're doing. And the fact is, right now, if you need travel insurance, there's tremendous confusion. People have no clue what to buy. They don't know what companies will actually pay them, which companies will protect them. They don't understand the differences in the policies, what the exclusions are. Is this primary coverage, secondary coverage? I don't want to bore your audience. We can go very detailed into this. And to have a brokerage and have an expert that you can call and say, look, help us. What do we need to get? And actually make sure you get paid in real life, because as a brokerage, I'm going to get into this next segment, but we bring millions of dollars to insurance companies. We have tremendous power there. And we never charge you a penny more than the policy would cost anyway. So it's the ultimate win-win. Obviously, there's billions spent in travel insurance every year. People need this help really bad. And we do differentiate ourselves tremendously.
That's awesome. And economies of scale. Obviously, you have been able to stand out and build those relationships with those companies, and that helps the end user, the client, in a major way. That's awesome. Again, chatting with Ben Camille. We're going to squeeze in a very quick break here on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Down to Business. We're back in our conversation with Ben Camille from Travel Defend. Ben, really enjoying our conversation, and you've been talking about assisting thousands of clients, and many of them who need real-time assistance on their trips. I know your relationships with the insurance companies pays off big time, and your clients don't need to pay any extra, which is what you were saying, which is great. So I'm curious, we could talk a little bit more about that, as well as I'm really curious, do you have any crazy stories that you can share?
Yeah, no, I definitely have a lot of crazy stories. But before I get into the crazy stories, you have to understand where we set in and how we are even getting these crazy stories coming to us. So essentially, let's quickly do this. Let's say you have a client. We work with hundreds of tour operators, travel agents, even individual end users, clients. You're going on a trip. Now, we work with all sorts of clients. It could be a $100 policy. It doesn't matter. We'll make sure you're medically protected and all that. But typically, let's say we have a couple. They're going to, Egypt, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 trip. these people really want to know, what should I buy? I want my $50,000 to be protected properly. I need medical coverage. I want to make sure I'm going to get paid. What do they do? And so these tour companies, many of them will send all their people to us. They know they're not experts in travel insurance, and we will answer all their questions. We'll do the paperwork for them. We have access to every policy in America, so we can discuss with them, make sure they're getting the correct policy. And then most importantly, we'll make sure they get paid. Okay. We have a WhatsApp that we set up with our clients. It's monitored 24 hours a day by our team. So if they have any issues, they reach out to us and we will help them. Okay. And that goes into all the crazy stories. Okay. So, they're really graphic. I don't know how your listenership wants to hear this kind of stuff. I can't go so graphic, but, we have, many tremendous injuries, strokes, medical evacuations, diving accidents with, collapsed lungs. Constantly we are getting clients reaching out to us who need real help. And if you reach out to the insurance company directly, unfortunately, they're dinosaurs, man. They're old. You'll speak to some random guy in India before you ever get someone who actually knows the real answer on the phone. And so that's why what we do is so, so important, so special for our clients. And it's a very sticky business. One time a client uses us, they will never buy travel insurance any other way again. There's no reason to, and they certainly won't. And that talks to all the business minds listening on your podcast. That this is why Travel Defend is such a great business, right? There's no inventory. It's straight to the cash. We get paid commissions. So you don't have to ever pay more than you would pay anyway for a policy. And we're really, really helping people. You can go onto Google, type in Travel Defend. You'll see all of our reviews up there. We have a lot of Google reviews already. They're all 5-star. They're all impeccable. People are shocked when they're getting paid in 7 days or 10 days or 2 weeks. In the world of travel insurance, if you get paid at all, because if you even know what you're doing, you can get paid in 6 months from now. So the fact is, people are really, really obsessed with what we do. We're obsessed with what we do. We love it. And, that's the basic name of the game.
I love it. Well, you're making a difference each and every day, and excited to watch your growth. And we look forward to having you back on real soon. But real quick, before we get folks in touch with you, if folks remember one thing from this conversation in terms of their entrepreneurial journey, what's that one bit of advice?
Like I said before, I think the one bit of advice is find a business model that makes sense. A lot of people will start a business. You go into a pizza shop, you say to the guy, "Why did you start a pizza shop?" "I don't know, because I like pizza." These are not good enough reasons to start a business. Okay. You got to actually figure out, step one, how am I actually going to make money? This is the question that so many people forget. They're so focused on, why are you doing this? Oh, I do windows. Okay, why? Why do you do windows? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. People, so many entrepreneurs don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. And well,
so that's critical. Ben, we're going to leave it there, and we're gonna make sure we get folks in touch with you, because I know you talk to a lot of folks and you've got a lot of podcasts out there. Ben, how can we get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah, just go to traveldefend.com. Simple. There's no hyphens or anything like that. Or you can call us 1-800-578-2871. And our team is here to help.
Fantastic. We're going to link in the show notes as well. Ben, really enjoyed our conversation. I know we could talk for hours, and hopefully we will again in the future. That's a wrap for us here on the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Check out my website, syklein.com. But to success, let's get down to business. We'll talk to you next Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on AM 560 The Answer.